Welcome to the Genre of Your Life podcast, a show all about movies, TV, and why we love entertainment. This is episode number 20. I am one of your hosts, one of the creators and host of the show, Doug Jones. With me, as always, are my esteemed and best co-hosts I can ever ask for, starting with Mr. Nick Johnson. How are you, my good sir?
Doing good, man. Blessed and chilling.
Second up, it was his birthday yesterday, everybody. The one, the only, Mr. Joel Kindlein. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm getting old as shit, but I'm good. I'm good as always.
He can finally apply for his senior citizen discount, guys. It's finally happening.
Yeah, man. Gotta start having you guys wheel me around and open doors for me. Fucking respect your elders, you know.
I'll put you in a wheelchair, wheel you around the airport for you. We get priority seating, so we're good.
Yes. Say less, Grandpa. We got you.
Good. Glad to hear.
Last but not least, one of the founding fathers and creators of the show. He's back, everybody. Mr. Moses Lai. Welcome back, good sir.
Hey, welcome back. It's always good to be back. You know, I'm ready to go. And, I'm happy to be here. Another day. Yeah.
Well, glad you're back, man. This is a very special episode. Before, guys, as always, a little housekeeping. You can find the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, or your favorite podcast platform of choice. We also just launched our show on YouTube. We have the full audio on YouTube, so check out our YouTube channel, which is Midway Avenue Productions. As always, guys, too, our social media handles are Instagram and TikTok, which is also at Midway Avenue Productions. While you're there, guys, at the social media or podcast page, hit that follow button, leave a review. Rating helps us out so much. As always, guys, thank you so much for your support. But before we get into our review tonight, ladies and gentlemen, Moses, you're back, my friend, and you're actually closer to any of the action than we are right now. What can you tell us about LA right now and the writer strike, potential actor strike? What have you been dealing with? What have you been kind of seeing, being close to the situation, closer than we are?
Yeah, no, it's pretty crazy. There every studio, every studio that you will basically want to, you will literally see WGA, and you'll basically see writer strike happening in every single studio in LA. If that's Sony, if that's Warner Brothers, if that's Disney, it doesn't matter. A strike is basically happening. Including Netflix too as well. It's crazy. I might literally, depending on what happens tomorrow, because of the SAG, they might go on strike really, really soon. If they go on strike, Hollywood is completely shut down. If SAG literally goes on strike, it's completely there's no more filming, done. Even press is there's no press. Actors can't do any press. So, that's how, crazy it is, right now. When it comes down to the big giant, studios and, CEOs of these companies and everything like that, they're kind of, I don't know. They're kind of basically, putting white writers, to the side a little bit, as if they're not as not important, and everything, which is just pretty crazy. But yeah, it's pretty wild over here, and legit, if that happens, well, your buddy here, Moses, won't be able to, get a gig, basically get a job. But lucky enough, I'm hoping things change, of course. But yeah, that's what's basically happening right now at the moment. SAG is literally going to strike if they don't get a deal by 11:59 tomorrow. Tomorrow night, 11:59 p.m. If they don't get a deal, well, Hollywood is completely shut down. There's no filming. There's nothing, nothing at all. So
from what you've heard, I mean, I've heard some things from, my work, also other podcasts I've listened to. What are, I saw things on some articles on the Hollywood Reporter and Variety the past week.
Yeah.
I know what the writers are fighting for, which is again, it's the AI, it's the residuals on streaming services, and I mean, to be honest, I mean, we all called that streaming service thing years ago. I think all four of us did. Of like, it's not going to hold up as well. Like, theatrical still needs to be the main front.
Yeah.
But with that said, I'm like, what are from what you've heard and what you've seen, what are the chances? Again, it's estimate obviously. What are the chances that SAG does approve the strike and they're going on strike? What do you think is going? High chance, probably, maybe, or most likely. I mean, what do you think from what you've heard?
So, I mean, what it is and everything like that. So it's basically like, it's already like, like they already been approved to go on strike if a deal doesn't happen.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, that's the way it is. They made this deal a while ago. I think a month ago or so, they have made the deal like, hey, we're going to go on strike. If we don't get a deal by the 30th of June. You know what I mean? And yeah, you have SAG, which of course is in support of the writer, of the, WGA and everything. But what's crazy, which is, like will kind of suck, if let's say SAG, right, does get a deal and everything like that, well, man, that puts the WGA in a very sort of like a tough position and everything. That now they're the only, now they're the only sort of like people that are in strike and everything like that, and that are not getting the deal that they want. Like like we heard, this thing might go all the way until what, on the end of the summer, basically. The writer the WGA, if they don't basically get a deal. So, yeah, it's they say it's tough out here for a pimp, but it's hard out here for a writer. So
That's great, dude. Actually, I love that.
but so yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, man. I know the DGA got their approval, they're fine with their contracts.
Yeah.
I know some things from reading the articles and hearing the podcast this week, but I mean, if I'm wrong, please correct me. Are the actors fighting for the AI stuff? Because I know the AI was a big thing for the writers. Are the actors fighting the same thing? Is that what they're kind of like fighting for? Because AI is now a huge thing with everything, television, filmmaking, music, content creation is a big thing now. So do you know what the actors are striking for? Like more, kind of like, is it AI? Is it AI thing? Is it like more conditions?
I'm not exactly sure because I didn't read up on so much on that, but I think it's it's mainly the same thing.
Okay.
When it comes down to a better wage, of course. For even like the lowest SAG member, and everything like that. It's better wage for better pay rate.
Right.
Pay rate, in general, for that. And of course, residuals too as well. They want the residuals check and everything like that, because it's like, hey, I am part of that film and I'm part of that, I am part of that TV show. I should be getting a certain amount from it. You know what I mean? My face is in that project, is in that, film. So I think it's basically that. When it comes down to AI, I'm not exactly too sure. I'm not exactly what SAG would be fighting for, when it comes down to AI, because it's, you are a actor, you're performing what's given to you on the page. It's not like AI is, generating a whatchamacallit, a robot actor or whatever that it is. I'm not exactly too sure. So, please take my word for grain of salt, whatever that is. So I'm not too sure if they're, if the SAG are fighting anything that has to do with AI, but I know everybody else is though, so
yeah.
The writers are fighting for that because it's true. You got ChatGPT, literally creating, the new Lord of the Rings movie in 3 seconds. You know what I mean? And it's like, but the downside of ChatGPT is that it's creating this right thing, but
Yeah.
there's not really any you still gotta have a writer to put the missing puzzle of the missing pieces
Yeah.
of that, of that puzzle that ChatGPT wrote or whatever. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, but that overall though, if they do decide to use, AI, if the studio decide to do AI, that would basically decrease the writers that they would basically need to have in his writers' room, because ChatGPT basically did a chunk of the work. All they need is like one writer to basically finish it off and be done. But I don't know. Weird times.
Yeah, no, it is weird times, and I know. Well, for our listeners, I'm going to just explain this real quick. Basically, what the reason with the writers too is that, back in the day before streaming, before we had Netflix and Paramount Plus, Hulu, Peacock, HBO. Now it's Max. Sorry, everything now. Back in the day, it was if you were on a network, which is again Comedy Central, NBC, ABC, the main Fox, whatever, CBS, whatever the main channels. If your show was kind of re-airing or it was kind of like on syndication, which is kind of mean that like it's playing out of order, just kind of playing on like background. Like The Office is a good example on like Comedy Central or TBS, whatever. These shows and movies, whatever, would do this and that. Um, um, but the thing is, though, is that once things move to streaming, it was kind of like, well, they're gonna be people will pay. Well, consumers will pay to be on to have access to Netflix and to Hulu and Peacock, whatever. And I know we've always saying this since in college. So this years ago, it was that it wasn't sustainable to begin with because what they're doing too is now I believe is that they're trying to do this. They're paying these studios, like Netflix especially, are paying their actors and creators up front with no back end or no kind of residuals because again, if you're doing it theatrically or on a network, it's advertisements, it's commercials, it's partnerships, whatever. And then in movies, obviously, it's okay, cool. You have a movie coming out called The Avengers, whatever. Like Downey Jr., he got paid up front, but he got a residual pay off of that because back end or whatever, because it was all a performance, box office, whatever, overseas, international, domestic, whatever. He got a portion of that. And like a few years ago with Scarlett Johansson, exactly with Black Widow, because they were like, cool, Disney Plus. But then they cut her
back end.
Yeah, back end, exactly. The contract says, again, this is before COVID too. It was she's gonna get a part of the box office, both domestic and internationally, because that's part of the deal.
Yeah.
And then streaming goes, well, no, because there is no residual. Off of people, us, the consumers, are paying for streaming services or whatever, but there is no kind of like residuals or back end deals because streaming services, it's a flat fee for our consumers. Boom, that's it. And look at Netflix. A year ago, Netflix was. I was at Netflix for a week and that happened, but it's the thing of like how literally it was like they're spending so much money on budgets and all this stuff, whatever, and they weren't making any money back. And they were sort of experimenting with movies in theaters. I know me and Nick saw Army of the Dead when it came out for a week, and it would get pulled immediately because I know we're still streaming first. And then they kind of tested it more with stuff like The Gray Man and Glass Onion. And Glass Onion made a lot of money despite how small of a release it was. Yeah. But Netflix goes, "Now we tried it, we're good." And it's like, well, but you saw a good result out of Glass Onion.
Yeah.
Just you use that structure. No, we're good. And this is what I give Apple TV Plus a lot of props for. What they're doing is, for their movies, they're going to be, guess what, guys? We're going to be partnering with the studio. So the next Leo DiCaprio movie, A Kills of the Flower Moon, that'll be partnered with Paramount Pictures, distribution-wise, and that'll be at Apple TV, whatever, how many days later. That's smart because you're giving the full-on theatrical release. You'll probably get actors, Leo for sure, De Niro probably got their back end for sure for this movie, and they're partnering, the next Ridley Scott movie, Napoleon, with Joaquin Phoenix. Sony Pictures has that movie for theater-wise, and that's for theatrical-wise. So that's smart that you're partnering with these studios because you're making money both in the theaters, box office then, and then after, I don't know how many days now, 45 days, 90 days, whatever, it goes off the theaters into Apple TV. Boom. People who want Apple TV, they can sign up for it, or they already have it. Great, we can watch it. And that's definitely the smart move of partnering with the studio, partnering with a big production company, and having kind of a win-win. And that's smart. I don't get why Netflix can't do that. And I do think that Max and Warner Brothers are now saying we're not going to be investing in these big budget movies or movies just for television because there is no return. And again, people are like, oh fuck that, it's stupid. No, it's kind of smart because then you're gonna be paying. I think you're gonna be paying your employees, your cast and crew, whatever, fairly because when you have I think more of a theatrical release movie, you have more insurance. I think you have more coverage to pay your cast and crew, and the movie does well. Yeah, bonuses, whatever. Doesn't too well, different story. But it's a very kind of tricky situation because streaming service was not. I don't think it was this. I don't think it was built to not last as long, but it wasn't developed fully enough to be like, guess what, guys, we're gonna have this for a while, and here's our strategy. And I don't think it was conceived well enough, like to far out enough. It was kind of like, cool. It was a current thing. Obviously, during COVID too, it was kind of like the savior because it was like theaters are closed. We're gonna have moving on Disney Plus, Paramount, whatever, HBO Max, everything. And also, again, look, HBO Max example. WB said we're gonna put all our movies, guys, on theaters and day on HBO Max. What the fuck were y'all thinking? Because that cost you guys so much money, and you broke so many contracts. Whether it was Will Smith, Gal Gadot, whatever. James Gunn, Chris Nolan got pissed about it. He left Universal. You're hurting the reputation of yourself, but also if it's in the contract, it's in the contract. You gotta honor the contract. If you put the contract up saying, "Hey, listen, guys, why it's box up, it's returns on this and that," follow that. So, like I said too, I don't think these studios and these streaming services did not plan accordingly because times have changed, and also now it wasn't like conceived far enough in the future of like it's going to be this for forever, and it wasn't. Things change, and the economy changes, inflation, whatever. It's a lot of things change. So I'm very curious to see what's going to happen with the writers. Go ahead.
No. I have something to basically add on top of that a little bit and everything like that. I mean, one of the things, with the streaming service and everything like that, if Netflix, let's say like Netflix, right? If they are planning to just have their films, on one thing that the Academy just did, the Academy Awards and everything like that, they just did is that they basically put in a new rule to where, hey, now if your film wants to be considered in the Academy, in the awards and everything like that as a contender, it has to be out for a certain length of time, and also in certain cities, in the US, or whatever, you know what I mean? It can't just be out for one day, out in theaters, in a little small town, somewhere that nobody knows about, and it's like, oh, there you go, our film was in theaters, boom, now we have the ability to have our film be nominated. It's not going to work like that. Netflix is going to realize that, and of course they will potentially change their mind and everything like that. All of these streaming services are going to change their mind. With Apple, like you said, they're smart. One thing that they have that's great about them is that they are a $1 trillion company. They can use whatever money they want, to do whatever they want. And Netflix is, they're going to understand at a certain point that they need their films in theater. Theater. They're going to need their films in theater, or else they're just going to, not losing money. It's like, I heard this thing to where somebody had said, your films are more valuable if they are released in theaters and then to your streaming service platform.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? If that's exactly. Also me too as well, because I look at it to where it's like, I look at it to where it's like, if I don't really get excited so much when I'm watching a streaming movie than a movie that's out in theater. I'm super excited if a movie's out in theater than I am if it's out like on a streaming platform, because it's like part of me feels like there's no value there. I don't know. As a consumer, it's like you feel like there's no value there. But for a movie that's out in theater, it's like, oh my God, it's big, it's in theaters, it's grand, right? Yeah. So, but they're gonna realize that soon enough, and they're gonna put their films out in theaters for sure.
They have to. That's why I gave Amazon a lot of props for doing what they did with Air. That was a very smart move on their part. They gave the Air. So in the past too, Amazon used to put out movies kind of like here and there in theaters. Like The Big Sick was a good example. Like they put out in theaters here and there, like a week or so, whatever. But it was a very limited release. And with Air, which was very smart on their part, they said we're going to give Air our first movie. They're going to give the movie Air, which is Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. They gave that movie a full wide and a repeat wide theatrical release. And said we're a 45-day window. We're going to put it in all major markets. Apple, AMC, Regal, Cinemark, whatever's open now, Harkins, everything. And that was so smart. It was like it was smart because they believed in the movie, but they believed in the theatrical too. Because like you said too, Moses, like Apple. Fucking Amazon is a $1 trillion company that has shopping, music, everything. Apple has devices, streaming as well too, but they have like computers. They aren't a movie studio first, or production company first. They're a marketplace company first, and that was very smart on both Apple and Amazon. We're gonna give our movies a full theatrical chance. I think when Netflix, you said too, Moses, Netflix isn't a company like that. They're a technology company that has streaming services that also is a movie studio, but they're not bringing money in like how Apple is and how Amazon is. Warner Brothers is a theatrical studio. They have streaming service, but they have money coming in through Warner Media, Discovery, other sources of income. So it's I think definitely that they need to rewrite their contracts, I think, accordingly. Just because times are changing and you can't bank on these $200 million plus movies be on streaming services, and that's it, because then you're hurting potential box office residuals and backends. Another thing too is this, back in the day before streaming service too, actors used to get a great interview. I think it was Matt Damon was on Hot Ones, whatever, and he's talking about the importance of DVDs and Blu-rays. How back in the day they used to get back end residuals off of DVDs, whether it was from Walmart, Kmart, Best Buy, Circuit City, whatever, Fry's, whatever. And they used to get results off that. Thanks to but due to streaming services, physical media still sells, like DVDs for sure still sell. I still buy movies every day basically, but that is not a kind of like gold mine anymore. It's gone because more and more people, thanks to technology, smart TVs, 4K TVs, iPads, iPhones, whatever. It's become more accessible to get a $5 streaming service every month or $10 streaming service, how much it is, and that money goes to Netflix and not to their actors. So I think what's fair is fair for sure. I think the writers the same thing. We all know as all writers ourselves, we know how important it is to be paid fairly. So I do think that you're right, Moses. If the SAG the SAG goes on strike, Hollywood's shut down, and that kind of sucks because we just got out of the pandemic. And now we're going back into a kind of shut down state of entertainment. So,
hey, Doug, one thing to add, to what you were saying, everything like that, about the DVDs and how they're able to make, money during that time and everything like that. I have one note to say, about like the box office, or about putting movies in theaters and everything like that, which is like in terms of bonuses, in terms of like. Let's for one example, right? Avatar, in terms of bonus for these actors and for the writers, how much money they probably have. Like these actors, they probably don't need to work a day in their life.
Oh no, not at all,
ever, for just from the bonuses, that they got. I think one person told me that one of the actors in the first Avatar, from the first Avatar movie and everything like that, I think somebody told me that he didn't have to work like another like TV show or movie, like again, just because of the bonuses that he was able to receive and everything like that, which is crazy, But crazy. These companies and everything like that, these streaming services got to understand that, you will be helping out so much of your actors and everything like that. Put it out in theaters. If you make enough money from it and everything like that, boom, you have these bonuses that they're able to receive. So, but yeah, that's the rest of the input. That's all the input that I basically have about that.
No, thank you. No, thank you. Like I said, in the beginning, you're the one closer to you're in LA, so you're closer to the ground than we are. But I know I'm hearing through my work, and they're all in LA. I'm hearing through other podcasts. Another thing too is that this is kind of like my whole thing before I'll go, is that with streaming services too, it's kind of this is my kind of just like quick little thing before we move on, is that if a streaming service is not doing too well, which again Disney Plus had a really bad quarter, I don't think it's fair to punish the consumer for we had a bad quarter. Let's charge the consumer more, because at the end of the day, it's like with inflation and people can't buy houses as much anymore. Yeah, we're in a gas prices are still at a high. We're still down a little bit, still at a high. I don't think they should not hurt the consumer. If the consumer is really a fair consumer, they're paying their bills every month, whatever. And again, Netflix had a really bad quarter. They go, we're gonna bump our prices up, whatever. Great. Yeah. And Disney Plus is doing that now too. Other companies are doing it too. I just think it's kind of unfair to the consumer that you're gonna be raising the prices because you had a bad quarter. But don't you want more people to like hop on? So you shouldn't raise the prices. You want to keep the prices at a steady or at a decent low, so you have more people kind of hop beyond. Because again, between groceries and gas and prices nowadays, and interest rates or whatever, insurance, it's people have to pick and choose wisely. So if it's really important to you, they'll definitely pay for it. However, I do think that it's kind of unfair to hurt the consumer by raising prices because you had a bad quarter. That should have been more of you, like, hey, you know what? We had a bad quarter. Let's reevaluate what we should do for next budget, for our next things. But by raising the prices on for your consumer, it's kind of like, all right, guys, it is what it is. Wink, wink. And it's like a shitty thing to say. And I'll get off my high horse of that, but that's how I kind of feel about it. The past couple years of raising prices.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. So anyway, guys. So if you're following the strike, to our writer friends, actor friends, best of luck. Be safe. If you're striking, please be safe. We're hold on the line. Stick with it. But anyway, guys, next up is our review of our episode, and I want to thank our good friends at KTR News, AZ Sports, as well as College Times for inviting Nick and I to a very, very special screening of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is Harrison Ford's last time as the beloved hero, Indy. I think it was now over 40 years now he's been playing Indiana Jones, and I was calling his kind of victory lap of always kind of like his characters. Now he's done with Han Solo. He's done with Rick Deckard at Blade Runner. Now he's closing up Indy, and again, Harrison Ford is an icon. He's over 80 years old. God bless him. He's been doing this for forever. He's truly an icon. So I was very excited that we got an invite the other day. Nick and I we're going. We're going to see this early screening. We're going to go to a baseball screening to see Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. But Nick, my friend, we saw it last night. Still fresh in our minds. What did you think of Harrison Ford's last outing as Indiana Jones? And Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Tell you what, man, I would give it a solid 8 out of 10. I thought it was really, really good. I heard some not so good reviews for it, like before I seen it. And so I kind of had that in my head while I was watching it. But as the movie's going, because people were saying apparently it was worse than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. So I was like, dang, I like really, really got to see this movie. And again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but at least in my opinion, it was definitely better than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. It was like a great kind of last hurrah for the character. There's fun callbacks. The music by John Williams was amazing. The story overall was really, really good. Really, it kept me engaged. And the opening sequence, because there's some de-aging, it was really, really fun, and it kept me engaged, and it kept me on the edge of my seat. The only thing I would maybe tweak about it would just be the ending, really. I feel like some of the character motivations, they felt a little bit rushed. The ending, it kind of wrapped up a little bit quick for me, because some stuff was going on, and I'm like, I don't know, man. It seems like y'all kind of just breezed past that. And but I don't know, maybe that's just me, because I like it when stories like really, really get into like the nitty gritty of what's going on. I probably would have added like maybe 20, 30 minutes onto it. James Mangold, the director, he did his thing with it. That's all I'm going to say for right now. Cause again, like it's tough for me to talk about movies that I enjoy a lot without spoiling it, but it was a really, really good time. It was It was really fun, and I had even like started rewatching Raiders of the Lost Ark the other day.
So good.
So it's amazing, man. And so the Dial of Destiny, great film. I would definitely recommend it. And yeah, it was better than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, you know what I always forget that's in Raiders is fucking Alfred Molina in the beginning scene. I always forget it's Alfred
Yeah.
Molina, dude. That's Doc Ock himself, and I'm like, you're right. He's in this movie. I always forget that he's he's in the beginning of Raiders, man. It's crazy. Yeah, sorry, you're right, Nick. Yeah, sorry to our listeners too. This is gonna be a again. We do always do a non-spoiler discussion for our reviews for a new movie that just came out. We did last week for The Flash. We kind of tiptoed around the spoiler section.
Mhm.
Yeah, man. So again, so last night, as you know, I'm a big Indiana Jones fan. This is one of my favorite franchises. It's a big part of my childhood. Hence the name Jones. Surprise, surprise. It's a
Oh my
family.
gosh.
It's a family affair. The family reunion. Yeah, man. So starting with my pros, man. Harrison Ford kills it, man. Like I said, this is kind of his
Mhm.
his victory lap of all his franchise. You know, he's closing out the door on against it on Star Wars, Blade Runner, and now Indy. Um, he kills it. I mean, he kills it. I mean, you can see in the movie like he's really giving his all. And you're like, man, good for Harrison Ford because I feel like when you get to a certain age and he's in his 80s, they're kind of like, yeah, it is what it is. I'm doing one more. But I do think with Han Solo and with Deckard and Blade Runner, and now with this, he really is closing it out on a high note. Like he's really giving his performance, like not phoning it in whatsoever. I thought again he's an icon, so I'm glad that he's not like taking this seriously and ending with that
Mhm.
ending with a high note for sure. And something yesterday in our out of theater reaction that we posted on our YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, our socials was that you're right. The de aging looks really good, and we've seen a lot of de aging the past couple of years. I thought it looked the best on this. I don't know what they did differently, but it looks very crisp and it looks very believable. Where it's like, okay, everything looks proper. It doesn't look too animated. It looked fantastic. And watching the beginning scene again the flashback sequence, which is awesome. You're right. It's like, wow, this is really good de-aging. Again, for a $300 million plus movie, the de-aging better look good because if you had this budget kind of a movie and the de-aging looks pretty shit, y'all do something wrong. Y'all deserve to get fired.
Yeah, it's like, where do you put that money, bro?
Yeah, not in craft services for sure. Um, but you're right. I think the opening scene really was fantastic. I think all Indiana Jones movies really have fantastic scenes. I mean, even Crystal Skull. I'll give it this. I did like the warehouse scene in Crystal Skull where you're like the nuke. I mean, hard to believe that he started a nuclear missile in a refrigerator in the
Mhm.
in the 50s. Come on now. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Um,
it should have been nothing but Indiana Jones soup in that fridge, boy.
Yeah, literally, dude, this liquid is melting out of the fridge. But yeah, no, I think every Indiana Jones movie has a really good opening scene. This one was awesome. I think it definitely kind of captured the magic of Indiana Jones right
Mhm.
away. Great chase scene. Kind of for sure set the mood to the movie too. Like when you see what's going on, you're like, hey, got the mood of the movie. It's a flashback, but it sets the mood for the entire movie for sure. Again, James Mangold, man, I love this guy, man. From Logan, Ford versus Ferrari, 300 Yuma remake. He walked the line. This guy really knows how to make fantastic movies. Like, really, he's a good storyteller. I mean, I fucking loved Logan so much, and I loved Ford versus Ferrari a lot too. Just he knows how to make good film, good storytelling with great performances from his lead actors, and it's brilliant if you ask me. Um, and you know what too? Again, awesome chase sequences throughout the entire movie for sure. Indiana Jones, like without a doubt, it's for sure feels like a movie. It doesn't feel like it's kind of like a rip off. No, this feels like, for sure like an Indiana Jones movie without a doubt. Yeah, man, John Williams' score is fucking brilliant. It's
Mhm.
masterful. It's beautiful. I had goosebumps almost the entire time you heard that dun 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 dun. Sound, and I was just like getting goosebumps. Like this is so. Again, I think this is. I could be wrong. Don't quote me, but I think this was his last composing movie, I believe.
Oh
I
wow.
I could be wrong, but good for him for ending with Indiana Jones. I mean, that's awesome. He has a beautiful legacy from all these kind of movies, from Harry Potter, from Star Wars to Jaws. I mean, he's a fucking legend. So this was it for him. Good for him, man. It was a beautiful score. Again, I was smiling ear and ear hearing the new music. It was very indie-like the entire time. For sure a bit of a tribute to his career, to all the indie movies. Um, I will say this though, before I get into my cons, I do think the first half I was like I'm like, oh, this is great. The first half, I'm sold. This is an indie movie through and through. I'm loving it. But I do feel like when they got to Egypt, I think it was Egypt, right? When they go to like the bazaar, I was like,
Mhm.
I was like with you know who, I was like, okay, like uh I'm still into this. That funny scene in the trailer where like he goes, get back with the whip, goes get back. And all the guns get pointed out his ass and they fucking like shoot him. I was like, that's pretty funny. I saw the trailer, but still funny. But around, again, good chase sequence in Egypt, but it was kind of losing me a bit. And I do feel like when we get the third act, it was like when they go to the caves and they're trying to like figure out like part of the dial or whatever. I was like, okay, cool. I'm back into this now. This feels like an Indiana Jones movie. Like Raiders feel to it for sure. The discovery, like the hidden secrets of it all. I'm like, cool. I'm back into this. Great production design. I'll tell you what, again, huge budget like this, $300 million plus movie. The production design is fantastic. I think with any kind of Lucasfilm, despite my complaints with Kathleen Kennedy and the company itself, I do feel like production design in this movie was phenomenal. I truly think that it looked gorgeous. The cinematography was gorgeous. Shots looked like very, very well placed. Beautiful scenery, beautiful imagery through the chase sequences, even like the stuff in New York in the 60s or whatever, or back in the 40s with the Nazi stuff. The production design was fantastic and fantastic cinematography about that. I want to give it that. But now, again, good send-off for sure. Good send-off for Indiana Jones, the character. It's a beautiful send-off. It probably won't piss any people off. I hope not. And for sure, like I said, too, at a theater reaction to, like you said too, Nick, is that I think it's a huge improvement over Crystal Skull, without a doubt. I remember seeing Crystal Skull with my parents back in 2008, and I never forget seeing my parents so disappointed, like shaking their heads, like, yeah, this shit sucked. And I was like, it wasn't that bad. And as you get older, you watch it, I'm like, oh yeah, this shit sucks. I mean, this is again, I was Shia LaBeouf, but I was like, yeah, this shit kind of sucked.
Because Crystal Skull was cool, but it just lost me at the reveal of like where the Crystal Skull came from. Like I was like, it's a fun twist and everything, but it didn't feel like Indiana Jones to me. Like that was like my biggest kind of con with that movie,
Oh yeah, dude. It felt like, again, I told you yesterday at the screening that George Lucas had more of a say into it, and surprise, surprise, this was right after the prequel trilogy too. So surprise. But yeah, again, a good send off for sure. So now into my cons. I love James Mangold, but it could have been anyone's movie. I feel like Ford versus Ferrari, 310 to Yuma, and Logan have a very specific feel to them. It's a very specific feel to them for sure. And with this, it had Spielberg elements to it, and it had Mangold elements to it, but it could have been anyone's movie. Like it could have been, someone else's direction. It could have been a J.J. Abrams movie at one point. It, to me, definitely could have been anyone's movie. I do think he has, again, an act for a great, eye for storytelling and, telling, certain, heroic stories like a Logan, like a Ford vs. Ferrari, like a 310 to Yuma, and like Indiana Jones. But at the end of the day, I was kind of like, this could have been anyone's movie, personally. But still, it didn't bother me as much. But I was like, again, I love Mangold, but it could have been anyone's direction. Some of the cons now. I think she was good in it for sure. She plays the goddaughter. Again, it's in the trailer. I do think the chemistry between Indy and Phoebe Waller-Bridge, Harrison Ford and Phoebe Waller-Bridge, kind of felt forced at times. Not like I was like, oh, it's like pushing it. No, it kind of just felt like she was in one different movie, and so was he. It was to be like, again, he's the godfather to her. And at times I was kind of like, what movie are they in? Because I feel like one time it's kind of like more like, hey, look at me, kind of like jokey joke thing, which kind of for sure a Disney thing with the Star Wars, Lucasfilm, and Marvel. But it for sure had a thing. I was like, it's definitely, again, they're great. They're both great performances, but I felt like she was a different movie sometimes. Like kind of like the entire time, like even during serious scenes, she was still, hey, like cracking jokes. And I was like, yeah, this is a very serious scene. Let's take it a little bit more seriously, if you know what I mean. Again, I know as the kind of like the charm of kind of like humor here and there with all the movies, but I think at times she kind of did a little bit overboard with the humor and the jokes. And I think at the end it was kind of redeemed for me with certain things that happened with her, but I do think that the chemistry was not there fully. There are good moments, but overall I was kind of like, I don't really believe it as much. And there's parts too of the sound design. I couldn't hear some of the lines, like when they're chasing or during like kind of like an action scene. I was like, wait, what they say? And I was kind of like, am I the old man now? Am I Joel? Am I losing my hearing? I'm kidding, Joe. I'm kidding. I couldn't hear some of the dialogue at times, and I was like, they could have maybe enhanced the sound a bit better. I had the same issue with Spider-Verse at times too. At the beginning of the movie, I was like, wait, what is she saying? Like, what is he saying? So also with Tenet as well. Like I was kind of like, wait, what? Like who's saying what now? So
Yo,
I think
Tenet
maybe
for sure, bro. Oh my
right.
gosh.
You couldn't really hear the dialogue, and I was like, I want to hear what happened. So I think maybe a week maybe on Blu-ray or Disney Plus or whatever, maybe they'll fix it. But there was times where he was talking, and I was like, wait, what'd he say? So that was just me personally. Oh god, the name, the actress who plays the CIA agent. I felt like they could have done more with her. Like she was definitely like more interesting to me than some of like the henchmen, like the Boyd Holbrook character. Where I was like, oh, I kind of want to see what more of her and like kind of see what her more developed. And I was like, yeah, I kind of was interested in seeing what she kind of did next or what she did before. And I kind of just like, yep, that's it. And I was like, all right. So I wish they kind of spent more time with that. And this is my big con. This is my definitely big con. The kid in this movie annoyed
Mm-hmm.
the living shit out of me. I
Which
literally,
which kid was worse though, Doug? The one in this one or the one from Black Adam?
you know what? The
Hey,
Black
don't
Adam kid really bothered me.
spoiler.
Mm-hmm.
No spoilers. No, I promise, no spoilers. Yeah, it's in the trailer too. You see him in the trailer a lot too. The recent trailer, I promise. Um, he. Okay, okay, I'll give it a fair tie. How about that? I'll give it a fair tie.
Okay.
Um,
Okay,
but
I'm with that.
this kid in the movie, because like once they go to the third act, I leaned over to you and I was like, "Yo, why is this kid still in the movie?"
I remember that. Yeah.
I was like, "Wait, why is he still here?" And it was like, I was like, "Oh wait, no, he's in it for the rest of the movie." I was like, "Really?" Because to me, he had kind of like no significance. Like, all right, let's put this kid in this movie. You know, he's. I mean, you made a good point too, Nick. Maybe it's a callback to Short Round, played by Ki Kwan. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I could have been it, but Short Round didn't annoy me. I love Short Round in Temple of Doom. I really did. In this one, I was like, yo, get this kid off screen, please. Give him ice cream, like get him off the screen. I'm like, also, you're a kid, you had a full on beard, bro. You had a full on mustache. I'm
Yeah.
like, I was like, bro, how old are you? So the scenes with the kid really bothered me because I was just like, he's kind of holding them back. Whereas like if he wasn't in the movie, cool, they can progress the story and not worry about this kid. And I was like, I guess whatever. But that's all I'll say about that. Tony Banderas, same thing. It was a great addition seeing him. I love him as an actor too. I love his voice too. But also too, kind of with other actors. So thinking, not spoiler, I promise, knows is that I wish they kind of like said earlier too. I wish they kind of developed some of these characters more because we're kind of just in it and that's it. That's it. Like, okay, cool. They're introduced and that's it. It was like okay, but like I wanted to see more of these characters because they seem kind of like chemistry with Harrison Ford looks really cool. I want to see their history with Indy. And it was like, oh, that would be cool to see more of them. But it is what it is. I mean, I'm not nitpicking, but I was kind of like, I wanted to see more of these characters kind of developed, more fleshed out.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
wondering if some stuff maybe just was kind of left on the cutting room floor because, like you said, like it was all these characters, but they weren't in it for like super long. So I was kind of wondering like what exactly is their
yes,
motivation? Because some of it was like I was wondering why are they there? Like for the film to kind of move along, for the narrative to move along, I understand like the parts that they play, sure, but
yeah.
it's like it's like just some of the relationships seemed a little bit off, and then like some of the motivations overall was just kind of like it wasn't really like fleshed out like that. So that's why I'm saying like I maybe would have added like 20, 30 extra minutes to it.
Yeah,
Just to kind of give some more detail, really. But yeah,
I would
that's just me though.
I would have mind. I actually would have liked maybe a longer, not director's cut, but I like a more fleshed out version, like you said too yesterday and today. Is that having that extra time might have fully developed certain characters more, and the
You know what they
villain.
should have done? What they
What's
should
that?
have done was pull a Zack Snyder and just release the full on 4 hour cut of the movie.
Hey, I would have paid for Harrison Ford's last indie movie. I would have paid
Heck yeah.
full. I would have paid full. I would have seen all the screenings. I would have paid full price in every format to see a 4 hour last indie movie for sure, 100%. So I agree with that. I mean, also you called it last week at the Flash. You were like, I think some things were kind of cut out, edited, and sure enough, the weekend after, yeah, the movie was cut and edited a lot, and I was like, fucking Nick called it, man.
Mhm.
He called it for sure. So it wouldn't surprise me for sure. There's gonna be like a longer cut on Disney Plus or the movie or on Blu-ray. It wouldn't surprise me whatsoever because that is kind of the trend now, seeing the full releases of the movie.
Mhm.
But overall, I still had fun with this movie for sure. I got one thing to do. Like I said, Boyd Holbrook, I love him. Boyd Holbrook, he's a good actor. He was good in Run All Night, Logan, Naga movies. why was he there? Like he was there just to get punched in the face almost every scene. Punch in the face, pow, punch in the face, corny line, punch in the face. And I was like, he's a good actor. They could have used him a bit more and kind of developed his character a bit more as well. But again, that's just me. Again, if you're an Indiana Jones fan, if you're a Harrison Ford fan at all, see it on the big screen. I would give it a 7 or 7.5 out of 10. I think it's worth seeing in theaters. Like I said, better than Crystal Skull, without a doubt. Is it good as the first three? No, but I would put it up there maybe close to Temple of Doom in times. But yeah, I probably say Temple of Doom with Dial of Destiny. Again, a lot of great action scenes. Harrison Ford kills it. It's a beautiful send off to him as Indy. You see it in the theaters for sure. See it with the crowd. See it with the audience. It's worth seeing on the big screen like it deserves. This is Harrison Ford. Hats off to you, my friend. You close out another chapter of your career, and as fans, we're very happy to see your send off as Indy. And the funniest thing too was when the credits were rolling and it said produced by Kathleen Kennedy. Nick goes, "Hey Doug, man, that's your girl right there." And I was like, "Oh God!" And for our listeners, if you don't know, I'm not a Kathleen Kennedy fan at all. I think she kind of ruined Lucasfilm and Star Wars multiple times. That's just me personally, but it was funny that Nick he pointed out right away. I was like, that was pretty funny, Nick. I'll give you that.
Yeah,
so yeah, guys,
like, that's your best friend right there.
I was like, you know what? Again, right now this movie's tracking to do not too well at all. I don't want anyone to lose their job. I really don't. But it would not surprise me, and it wouldn't be the worst thing. After this, they go, you know what, Kathleen? Thanks for 10 years at Lucasfilm. You're fired. Thanks, you're fired. So it wouldn't be the worst thing. Again, I don't want anyone to lose their job. I don't wish that upon anyone. But I think it's time for Lucasfilm to kind of reboot and regroup and find someone new that kind of has more understanding of Star Wars. Again, she's a phenomenal producer. I think outside of Star Wars and Lucasfilm for sure. I just don't think she was the right person to pick. Again, I know George Lucas picked her for sure, but her track record the past 10 years of Lucasfilm CEO has kind of proven that, yeah, you kind of ran this franchise and these franchises to the ground or didn't have the best respect for them, personally speaking. So, yeah, guys, that'll be
a Star Wars fan. I second that.
Yeah, so we hear all the time on this podcast that how I don't spice or I'm not the biggest fan of her, but yeah, guys. So again, Indiana Jones, The Dial of Destiny is now in theaters this weekend. See it with the crowd, see it with the audience. It's a lot of fun. Again, we want to thank our friends at AZ Sports and KTR and College Times for the invite. We appreciate it and we can't wait for the next screening. Alrighty, so after the review, our topic this week is, what are two of your favorite franchises? And I'm going to start with Moses, since you're coming back to the show. What are two of your all-time favorite franchises?
Two all-time favorite franchises. I don't know. I mean,
or one.
I mean, I do have two. You know, I mean, I grew up watching a lot of Marvel stuff. So the first movie that I ever saw in theaters was a Marvel movie. Which
Iron Man 2.
So and that opened my eyes very, 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 very widely. So I would say that number two, I would say that I'm actually just now getting to be to kind of fall in love with now and everything like that, is Mission Impossible.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Hell
yeah.
If I would say number three, is of course the Fast and Furious series, but that's those are the top two, top three that I kind of grew up watching and everything. So yeah, that's it. I didn't really grow up watching Star Wars a lot, which is but people will be like, what? But yeah.
How dare you? Don't like Star Wars? The nerve. And you call yourself a filmmaker? How dare you? No, I'm fucking kidding.
I mean, that's it. I mean, I started watching the new ones, but Marvel and Mission Impossible, the two that I really like. So,
hey Moses.
Yes, sir.
My bad, but which of the Mission Impossible movies is your favorite, if you don't mind me asking?
Good question.
I would say Rogue.
Good one.
I think that movie, was really really great. With Jeremy Renner and everything.
Mhm.
Yeah, I really really like that one a lot. So yeah, that's definitely my favorite. So
Okay,
um,
I'm with that. I'm with that.
one two as well might be up there.
Which
Uh,
one, number two?
no, this new one, Mission Impossible: The Reckoning Part One.
Oh
'Cause
yeah, 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 yeah.
trailer,
Dude,
I'm
I
like,
am
yeah,
so excited for that, bro. Oh my
yo,
gosh.
give this movie more IMAX theaters right now. I don't care if Christopher Nolan. No, I'm kidding.
Bro, they really again. I'm really happy that so many movies are coming out this summer. But damn, they had so many movies coming out. They were not prepared to have back to back to back. And again, Chris Nolan has Supreme over Supreme over IMAX. So I
Yeah,
can't say I'm surprised, but you're right. I mean, I do think that Tom Cruise has a lot of clout as well as the biggest movie star of the world right now.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, but yeah, I do think that I wish they kind of shared the screen. Like, okay, but one day it could be Mission, one day it could be Oppenheimer. But that was kind of
you
timing
know,
on their end. But I mean, it's a win for us movie fans and us critics. So it's
That's true.
yeah. I don't know, but yeah, I Mission Impossible, dude. Ghost Protocol, man. Was on the Burj Khalifa, man. I remember seeing that movie in theaters. I was like, I have sweaty ass hands. I was like, oh my god. I was like, oh,
yeah,
like please don't fall.
yeah.
Yeah, dude, Mission Impossible so good. All right, Joe, you're up next, my friend. Two of your favorite franchises.
Oh, that's easy. Star Wars and Harry Potter, and then just as honorable mentions, it would have to be Pirates of the Caribbean.
Ooh, that's a good
Yeah,
one.
Damn, Joe, you
yeah.
took one of mine.
That's fine.
Sorry.
You can use it. You can use it.
Yeah, just love those movies. As you could tell from a previous podcast, I truly do love Star Wars. Grew up on it, was a giant nerd, always wanted to be able to use a force and a lightsaber and everything. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just a giant nerd. Uh, it, I'm excited for what they'll do with the new Harry Potter, when they remake it, whether it'll be a show or a movie. I think they said show, right? Maybe. I don't know. Um, but I'm excited to see what they'll do with it, with the new development for makeup and everything, and CGI. Harry Potter, it has always had pretty good CGI and everything. I never got into Mission Impossible. Like I've watched them and they're enjoyable, just never been like a gigantic fan. Like it's like I'll watch a movie here or there, one of those random movies. Like I'm a fan like action. So, yeah.
Good ones. All right, Nick, you're up, my friend. Two of your favorite franchises.
Two of my favorite franchises are going to be Harry Potter because that was one of the first movies I'd seen in theaters. I saw it with my grandmother and my cousin Trey, and like I was following each fucking movie, man. Like I wanted to be at Hogwarts and like do all the magic spells and everything like that, man. Like me and my cousin Trey, bro, we'd be having like pretend like Harry Potter fights, like saying all the spells and everything like that. And then my second favorite would be Lord of the Rings.
Ooh.
Like,
Oh,
bro,
that's a good one.
like I'm a huge comic book movie fan, so like DC, Marvel, like I love all that stuff. But like, dude, the Lord of the Rings trilogy, in my eyes, that is the perfect movie trilogy, man. Like it's so obviously there's the nostalgic factor, but it's like the storytelling is so fucking good. Like it made me want to go back and actually read the book. Like I'm listening to the audiobook for the Fellowship of the Ring, the first one right now. I read all the Harry Potter books like a few months ago, man, and but yeah, those are my favorites, man. I could geek about that stuff like all day, all night, man.
Those are some big ass books too. So I'm glad you're doing the audiobook.
Yeah, bro. Oh my gosh,
Some
like
big ass
Oh
books, bro.
man.
Like
it took
thousands
me
of
Yeah, my
like
books.
what's
my
up?
parents owned those fucking books. Like they had them. They're huge. I was like, yeah, this is never gonna happen. I love Lord of the Rings, but I'm never gonna
Yeah,
watch that shit. I'm never gonna read it. I love
yeah,
Lord of the Rings. So yeah.
yeah. These audiobooks are long, man. They're like anywhere from like 15 to 20 hours, man. I'm like, golly, it's gonna take me a little bit.
Take you a whole year.
Yeah. By the time I finish these books, I'm probably gonna be a grandfather, like Joe. Okay, Joe. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. Y'all are right around the corner. Don't worry.
No, Joe, I'm right there with you, man. Because I got knee
Theodate
pain like every single
27.
morning, man. I can't even walk up the stairs without using the rail. So I feel you, bro.
I
Right?
gotta say, Harry
Fucking
Potter is
heavy
definitely
breathing.
my top three like franchise. I completely miss on that. You know,
Right? Yeah, I forgot about Lord of the Rings. I'm actually really disappointed in myself. I'm glad you said that, though.
Yeah, y'all are slacking. Y'all are slacking. Y'all need to get up on my level. I got this S tattooed on my chest for a reason, y'all.
So, I mean, sorry. So, I think with my surprise, I almost gonna say Harry Potter as well. It's like
Yes, indeed. Yes,
Feel
I
it.
was, I
indeed.
was gonna say,
Feel it.
Fast and Spider-Man, but you heard me so many times on the show say how much I love Spider-Man, how much I love Fast and Furious. So you know what, I gotta switch up a bit. So I'm gonna go with Harry Potter because, like you said too, Nick. I remember seeing that movie with my parents. I saw all of them. My parents always every birthday came out on my birthday. I think one through no like 3 and 5 come out on my birthday. But I think 1, 2, all of them come out on my birthday, and my parents would have these big parties for me. Like all my friends and um elementary school, grade school. Like my mom would have this huge my parents would have a huge party. My mom would have huge parties for us. I would wear my full on cloak. My mom would draw a little lightning bolt on my head, my nerdy ass.
I've
And I
got,
had the
Oh, the
fake,
lightning
the
bolt,
fake,
bro.
the fake wand, everything. I had the fake golden snitch, everything. And I love those movies so much. I saw them like all the time in theaters, like multiple times. I just love these movies so much. And they're a big part of my childhood, my life as it is. I read all the books with my dad when I was growing up too, so they're a big part of like why I love kind of storytelling and movies and kind of just like the fantasy world. And my second, this one might surprise people, and I've been kind of like, you know what, I'm gonna do this one too. My recently new favorite franchise number two was gonna be John Wick, man.
Oh,
And
yeah,
snap.
John Wick,
good one.
for different reasons. Told story on the show a few episodes ago was that when the first one came out, Joe was like, "Gotta watch John Wick, gotta watch John Wick. It's amazing." I was like, "I'll watch it eventually," and I was like, "It's okay, whatever. It's fine." It was like it was cool. I love Keanu, but I was like, "It's cool, whatever." And it wasn't until number two, Nick. I think Moses was there too. It was me. It was you, me, Moses, Isaac, and Big Isaac was there too.
Mm-hmm.
And we're watching the screening of it, and halfway through, I was like, now I get it. Now I get these movies. Now I get why I'm hyped for these movies for sure. And I was like just hype seeing two with y'all. I remember I saw three over the summer years ago, Nick, and I was like, oh my god. And I went to the press screening for the fourth one, and I said, these movies are just fucking brilliant. Like
Yeah, bro.
you watch these movies because they're a fantasy of their own, but with assassins. And I was like, that's fucking brilliant. And I've been listening to more podcasts, like more filmmaker podcasts the past couple of years, this past year or so. I'll tell you what, man, Chad Stilisky, this dude knows how to fucking make a great action movie. He did all four movies, and for our listeners who don't know, he was Keanu's stunt double in all the Matrix movies. And he was a big part of a lot of stunt movies, a lot of the like superhero movies, a lot of franchise movies. He did the stunts for Birds of Prey. Like he's been a big part of stunt movies that you probably didn't know about. And his first movie he made, he directed with David Leitch, who did Bullet Train, Deadpool 2 as well, Atomic Blonde. But they did the first. Chad did all four John Wicks. And hearing this, I heard him on the Joe Rogan podcast, heard him on the Real Blend podcast, heard him on the Fandango podcast. Listening to guys speak, he knows so much about filmmaking and good action. And what I love about him too is that he has no problem calling out boo-boo ass bad action movies. Like he'll call out some shit like terrible ass, that was garbage, terrible. And he said, you know what? I want to make movies that feel real, that have authentic stunts to them, and hire a good stunt team. Not this kind of BS of like cutaway or like it's clearly fake. And I'm like, dude, I'm just amazed by this guy. From a background in stunts to be, your first big thing was Keanu stunt double in the Matrix movies, and then you were a stunt coordinator for all these big movies. And your first movie, your first franchise, is this $1 billion franchise now with John Wick. I was just so amazed by him. And if you have Spotify, listen to him and Joe Rogan for 2 hours. I was just mesmerized. Again, I love his voice too. He's just mesmerized by this guy and talking about his filmmaking style, his love for action movies, for good action, doing tactical stuff with Halle Berry and Lance Reddick and Ian McShane and Keanu. And I was just like, bro, I'm just amazed by this dude. I really am. And he's doing What's the movie game you like, Joe? Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost of
Tsushima.
Tsushima, bro. I'm
Sorry,
so fucking hyped.
he's doing that, and he's doing Rainbow Six with Michael B. Jordan. I said, sign me up.
Ooh.
I said, sign me up.
Rainbow Six. Now that's a tall order because that game has been out for fucking ages. That game is
Is
not ended.
is,
But-
is that going to be a sequel to Without Remorse?
No, it's a whole new
No.
franchise.
Okay,
And
okay, gotcha.
Because so Without Remorse is
Tom
Tom
Clancy.
Clancy.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Okay, but
it's
Rainbow
just
Six
another
isn't Tom Clancy.
No. They're both by Tom Clancy. But this is gonna
But-
be a whole. This is gonna be a whole new franchise. And
Okay, I got you.
and from what I
Yeah.
heard, go ahead, Joe.
So Without Remorse was more so like a soldier sort of taking on the government,
Yeah.
with Rainbow Six, Rainbow Six, it's soldiers that are not expedited, experts in, a lot of different things. They're basically like special forces. You know what I mean? They're the ones that go to different countries and do the big things, sort of. So it's a little different. So, Without Remorse was really good, but this one, it's going to be heading in a different direction, I believe.
And I can't.
Okay.
And if Chad can do what he did with John Wick movies and then this movie, I mean, like you got. Also, I heard too that he really wanted to work with Michael B. Jordan so badly. Michael B. Jordan wanted to work with Chad Stahelski so badly. So kind of like they met up and had a meeting about like projects. And we're doing this movie. If Chad can literally bring that John Wick stuff with Michael B. Jordan to a new franchise, like a rated R, hard R, rated R franchise, like like John Wick violence, sign me up, dude. Sign me up. Like I said, I listen to this guy talk on different podcasts. I'm just so amazed by him and his like dedication to practical effects, real stunt work, real action. And I didn't play the Ghost game that Joe has played, but I heard him talk about it. I heard like YouTube videos about it, and the way the way he was able to do samurai stuff in John Wick 4. I was like, I want to see anything this guy does because I'm so amazed by him and so like a huge fanboy of Chad Stahelski. So I was like, sign me up. So definitely again, Harry Potter, two different opposite franchises too. Harry Potter and then John Wick, two different franchises to a T. But I love both these franchises so much. I'm just like, yeah, I'm just a nerd for both of these franchises. But yeah, man, I fucking love both of them. They're a big part of like I think why I love movies too. But anyway, second part of this.
Yeah, and with that, talking about that, it makes me really excited to see someone that knows about stunts do movies, because the problem with a lot of action movies for the past few years is that the fight choreography is so boring. Because I was watching this TikTok a while ago about a guy talking about why certain action movies are good and why others aren't, which is why I watch a lot of Asian movies, especially action, is because like a lot of these fights choreography are just like punches, and they're like one hit knockouts, or they're just constantly swinging at each other, not blocking. And the guy was breaking down like these older movies where one movie had like 500 and something just punches and like 2 blocks. You know what I mean? And so to see a guy who knows so much about stunt, being a stunt double, and to do that, to make such great films and to pursue other, films that fans really do have like an expectation for and really have a big hope, and is so worried about Hollywood fucking it up royally, it gives me a lot of hope and just makes me really excited.
Again, listen to interviews with him, guys. I really recommend, because we're all filmmakers and we're all writers. Just hear him talk for like an hour, 45 minutes, whatever. I was just like I was learning so much from him of how he shoots things, and I was just like, and he was like, we are big about safety and safe practical effects. But he has such an act for telling good action movies, where I was just like, dude, I want to see every action movie made by this guy. I was just like, dude, I'm just mesmerized by this guy, 100%. So yeah, it's I'm glad that he's going to do a movie with Michael B. Jordan. I can't wait for that. Anyway, so yeah, part 2 of this topic is a little bit of a challenge for you guys. So it's going to be, what movie do you wish had a sequel or started a franchise? And Nick, you first, my friend. I'll start with you this time.
So the first movie I can think of that I wish would have had a sequel is Dread, which I believe came out.
Oh yeah,
I think it was
That came out
2012.
ages ago.
2012.
Yeah.
Yep.
Was it 2012? Yeah, with Carl Urban and yeah, because my cousin Trey, like he showed it to me and it was cool. Like it was, I liked how just like grounded it was, because I'd seen like some of the images from the comics and everything looked a little bit like super like 80s 90s sci-fi comic book where everyone's like super like muscly and everyone has these big ass like fucking like shoulder pads on their costumes, like crazy huge guns that like physically you should not be able to hold with one hand, but they're like shooting it, swinging it around, everything like that. You know what I mean? Like everything was super exaggerated. And I had seen a little bit of the I saw some of the clips from the Sylvester Stallone movie, which came out in the '90s with him and Rob Schneider, Diane Lane, and everything. And like he's like Nick, you got to see the 2012 one. I'm like, all right, bro, I'll give it a shot, I guess. And then like I'm watching it. It was very grounded, but it still felt, it was like really engaging. It didn't feel like one of those movies where it's like we have to just do something completely different. Like it was grounded, yes, but it still felt very true to the stuff that I had seen in regards to the character, and the story was dope. And it was a really, really fun movie. It was a solid story, and it was a simple story, which I think really helped it out, because you know, you never want to try too hard to impress. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to be like just doing too much. Like it was literally just, it's basically two cops. They got to go into this building and they got to stop this crime boss. But you know, like they put some twists on it. Like this building is like 100 floors, 100 floors high, and each level, like it's a bunch of like criminals and everything like that on each of these 100 levels that all work for this crime boss. So you got 100 floors of people trying to kill like these two cops, and one of the cops, it's their first day. So it's like, okay, that's interesting. And like the way that the story progressed and everything like that, I loved it. And it was, I think there were talks about either doing a sequel or like a television show that just followed the events of it. And I really wish that I wish they would have like gone more into that, because I would have loved to have like explored that world of Dread a lot more, you know what I mean? Because also I think it was kind of not so much an origin story, but kind of like how they did the Batman, where it's not like their first mission, it's just early on in their career, because apparently I think the plan was to like start him off, like start the Dread character off, and like maybe he's only been here for like a few years or something like that, but then each of the sequels is going to get him closer and closer to the version of the comics where he was basically like the big dog on campus. You know what I mean? Like everybody knew who he was. The second movie that I wish would have gotten a sequel is Chronicle with Michael B. Jordan.
Oh man,
dude,
man.
like that movie. And the writer Max Landis, he was saying like, yeah, I had planned a sequel, and I don't remember if he like wrote the script or not, but he was at some sort of convention. He was talking about the stuff that would have been in the sequel, because they would have gone into like how they got their abilities and everything like that. But apparently the script itself was just quote unquote too dark to have been made into a movie. And I don't, something like that. I'm like, that's kind of a bullshit excuse, because there's if it being too dark was the issue, all you would need to do is just lighten it up, but keep the core story elements. You know what I mean? Like if it's too dark, just tone it down a little bit.
I like dark movies, man. Dude, Chronicle's such a great mention. Me and Doug saw that in theaters.
We did, dude.
We were so hyped for it too.
That movie, dude, that's so sad, because two things. Josh Trank will never be work again, probably.
I know, that's a shame, bro, because he did his thing on that movie. And I think they fucked him over on Fantastic Four too.
Oh, dude, he really, I felt, remember he was like, oh, the next big director is going to be Josh Trank. And then he did Fantastic Four, and then no one heard from him again, which kind of sucks, man. And I think the other thing too is now Disney owns Chronicle now, so unless they sell it to someone else, they ain't making that movie ever. I mean, it could be a Hulu. No, wait, it could be a Hulu. It could, I mean, wish it was wish it was a theatrical movie for sure. But I do think it could be a Hulu. It could be a Hulu original. Hulu. I mean, do a series, but I'll do a movie. But yeah, the Chronicle's so fucking good, man. I love that movie so much.
good.
Young Michael B. Jordan too. Young Michael B.
Yeah,
Jordan.
we went to the theater and we had a hard time trying to see that movie because that lady who always like was just on us at any time. Like we had to sneak in there. We had to sneak in there. Like we bought a ticket for like some bullshit kid movie and then we snuck into it, which was one of the fucking hardest things to do because she
Wait,
somehow
was Chronicle
always
rated R?
knew what movie we wanted to see.
I know it was PG-13.
Yeah, I
Was
thought
it
that too.
PG-13? I swore it was.
It was PG-13. Yeah.
Why were y'all trying to sneak into a PG-13 movie?
No, I think it was a
This
different movie.
lady, maybe it was a different movie.
Different movie.
There's this lady that used to work at AMC we always used to go to. And she would not, like, she remembered us because we were always there. And so she would wait outside of our, like, movies we'd see because we'd want to go sneak into another movie theater to watch another movie, you know, and then head home. But she was like, she was so serious about her job, and she was like one of those ladies that cleaned the theater. She wasn't like a manager. She wasn't like anything like a lot of the other workers there. Like didn't give a shit. They knew us. They didn't give a shit. But like she was just always on us. So like sometimes she'd know what movie we want to watch, and then she'd block it, and we'd be like, "Fuck, bitch!" Like she
All
took
the time,
it way
dude.
too
That's
serious.
pretty whack, man.
She was there for a few years, and me and Doug had to start going to other movie theaters, and we were just like, bro, this lady needs to fucking get
No
fired.
matter what it was, she was waiting for us. Every move you'll make, I'll be watching you.
Yeah, like she was always, yeah, but we
Listen on
did
my
see it in
shit.
theaters. Like we saw the trailer, we were so excited for it. We did see it in
Such a good
theaters.
movie. Anyway, Joe,
Such
go
a
with you,
good
man.
movie.
What's your
Me?
movie? Yeah, movie that could have been a sequel or a franchise.
TMNT.
I know. Yeah, the 2007 one.
Yeah. Because
2007.
the art style of it was so good. We don't do those art styles anymore. You know, we went to more cartoonish ways, but like that movie's art style was great. The rain was fantastic, and it really was like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, who they really were. And you know, like the problem with a lot of these Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies that were gang is always like a new introduction for the new generation. And I as someone who grew up on them, I'm tired of that. Because I don't want another origin story for them. I want to, with that one was a continuation from their original story. Years past as they gotten older, more matured, and have experienced a lot of like dark shit. Because Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have gone through hard times, and that changes them. You know what I mean? With the family dynamic and as they grow older, how they become their own people. And it just really showed that. And so it's such a great movie and I loved it. Sadly, a lot of people didn't like it, but I enjoyed it so much that I had my family buy us a DVD. And yeah, no, I just really loved that. The animation and everything. The animation, me and Doug were talking about this the other day, but I didn't think about it till now. But the animation reminded me of the movie AE. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that movie, but you know what I'm talking about. We mentioned it before in conversations, Doug. AE, I believe, or something like that.
Yeah, sounds familiar.
It was another like anime movie. It was so good. But yeah, we don't do animations like that no more. We tend to head towards a cartoonish or anime, you know, way where it's like these animations that we used to do back in the day can still work to this day and are still really good and still hold up. So, you know, I thought that shit probably got a sequel. I would have loved that. I was excited. I was hoping they would get a sequel. And honorable mention would be Treasure Planet.
Oh
Oh, yeah.
my god,
Great
Treasure
movie.
Planet, bro. Jesus,
Sadly,
Louisa.
Disney hates that fucking movie, and they just did everything they could
Bro,
to
they set
just
that movie up to
not
fucking
make it
fail.
happen. They really did. They really
They had no
did.
belief in it. They had no belief
Yeah,
in it
fuck
whatsoever.
fuck Disney because they don't know what's good. Like they really don't. You know what I mean? And it's shitty because that movie is so good, and the writers and directors were planning to make a second one, but Disney
Mhm.
just
believe
made it their mission to just block it, to not let it happen. And I fucking hate Disney. I fucking hate Disney. Fuck Disney. I fucking hate them. But yeah, those are my I wish that got sequels.
Just to cover our own ass too. That's Joel's personal opinion, as
That's
we all
my
know.
own
Show.
opinion.
While I
I'm
agree
just
with Joel, and they should have made Treasure Planet Part 2, I do not hate Disney.
neither
I
do
just
I
I.
hate
wanted to put that out
Disney.
there
I'll
Listen,
say
for the
that.
record,
That's my own
y'all.
thought. I'm a single person. Joel Kindlen hates Disney. They can
Yes, we don't.
fucking fuck
Nicholas
themselves.
Johnson
Fuck
does
Disney.
not.
Fuck
Doug
Disney.
Jones is not
They
either.
ruined Star Wars. They
Hey,
ruined
hey,
Star Wars. They
here,
ruined a lot of things. Fuck
edit
Disney.
this out.
What's that?
What'd you say, Moses?
Edit this out. I'm kidding.
All right, Moses, you're up,
You
my
guys
friend.
try to censor me like Disney. We're gonna have problems.
You're up, Moses. A movie or two movies that you wish could have had a sequel or could have been a franchise.
I would say I wish there's like two and there's an honorable mention and everything.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
There's the movie Super 8,
Oh yeah.
that
That's
was
a
directed
good one.
by of course J.J. Abrams, produced by Steven Spielberg and everything like that. I remember seeing that movie and I'm like, man, it had a really, really crazy like a build up and everything like that. But just the idea of like these kids, finding something, finding this alien sort of like a, thing and everything, and having to figure out, where it sort of like came from and everything like that, was really, really, really cool. I definitely wish they were able to make a sequel, from it, because I go back and watch just the trailer, like off and on, everything like that. Whenever I can. Also, number two is World War Z.
Oh yeah. Good
Okay.
movie too.
I just
that
rewatched
is
that the other
good.
day, matter of fact.
Every
That was
single
a good
person
one.
that I talk to is like, I've seen that movie. Even people that are not crazy into films and everything like that, they're like, I wish they were going to make part two or second part of that film, because man, like that movie was amazing, and it made a lot of money towards the box office. So I was confused. I was like,
It made so much money.
why did not make a sequel? You got Brad Pitt, and everything front line. It's like, come on, you can easily make a sequel. I would do it.
Yeah, Paramount, listen to this man. He'll do it for you
Paramount,
guys. Come on.
Heck yeah.
I will do it for you. I will make it for you. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's honorable mention is, I mean, they won't be able to do it no more. But Man of Steel 2.
Uh,
Oh wow.
I was
How did I not think of that
Oh.
one? Jeez.
The man with the nest on his chest didn't think of
I
that.
know, it's so embarrassing. Here's why I didn't say Man of Steel. It would have just been too easy for me, man. I was just trying to challenge myself a little bit.
But Man of Steel 2, I wish they were going to make that. I think that was DCU's best film. I don't know, for me personally.
I agree, 100%.
Because
It
like the
is.
visual effects were great and everything like that, and the music and the action overall and the story was just great. You know what I mean? Was great. It was there, and yeah, it's a great movie, man. But yeah, those are the three. Those are the three. So I can even do Super 8 if they want me to. Steven
Oh,
Spielberg.
I would pay full price to see that, Moses. I would pay full price
Yeah,
to see
bro.
that movie, dude.
Hell yeah.
Super 9. All right, so I'm gonna do two and honorable mention too as well. I'm gonna do the first one is one of my favorite sci-fi movies that probably ever made, and that's gonna be Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt, Edge of Tomorrow.
Okay,
This
okay.
this movie fucking rules. And I remember this all too well. You were there too, Joe. It was the summer before that movie came out. It was like all the marketing for this movie, and I said, "This looks like shit." I said, "This looks terrible. I don't know what this movie even is." The marketing was not good. Was not good at all. And I was like, "I don't know what this." I love Tom Cruise. I love Emily Blunt. I was like, "Yeah, I don't know what this is gonna be." I was like, "This looks so weird." I was like, what is it? Aliens? What? I'm confused by it. Marketing was terrible. And I got invited to a screening of it. I was I'm gonna go, but I had baseball practice. I missed out on it, or whatever. So I want to say flash forward me a month after it came out. Me and my boy Given, what's up, Given, if you're listening to this? We were hanging out at Navy Pier IMAX, RIP Navy Pier IMAX, by the way. And we were going to, we were kind of, no, sorry, we were going to the movie, we were going to AMC, we got kicked out because we weren't 17 to see 22 Jump Street, actually. It was a pretty funny story. We got kicked out. Given and I were walking around town. We got summer break, whatever. I didn't start my job yet, and we're going to AVP or IMAX, and we're like, "Yo, man, what are we gonna do, man? It's only noon. We've been out for like the past 4 hours, and we're walking by the IMAX. And IMAX, in Chicago too. I mean, it still is, but IMAX is definitely a pretty penny premium. You get paid more to see IMAX or Dolby, whatever. And me and Given, we just we literally walked into the back and no one caught us. And we literally, and I'm sorry, IMAX. Yeah, I love you guys. I'm a big IMAX supporter. It's only one time thing that ever happened, but me and Given literally walked in the back entrance and then they didn't stop us. We just walked right in. We walked right in. And like, there was no one there. Maybe a few other people were in there and there was no one in there. We just walked right in. And I was see this movie, whatever, because it's something to do. It's noon, whatever. I love being proven wrong about movies. I really do. Damn, this movie literally is fucking awesome. Like, I remember just sitting there, I was like, man, I'm loving this movie. Like, the sci-fi is great, the storytelling, the humor is great, the action is great. Emily Blunt's a badass. This movie's it's kind of like Groundhog Day with a sci-fi twist. I was like, I love this movie. But everyone loves that movie after it came out. Like, people who saw it like us on theaters, whatever, but like it didn't do too well box office wise, but it had a huge following on Blu-ray and VOD, whatever. Everyone's like, this movie's fucking awesome. And there was talks about doing a sequel called like Live Die Repeat again or whatever. But I've heard Emily Blunt's still down for it. So was Tom Cruise. But I think Tom Cruise is just too busy nowadays to do that with Mission Impossible and movies going on. So if they do, I'll be the first one there because I just love this movie so much. It had a great pace to it too. R.I.P. Bill Paxton was in it. He was great in it too. It was so funny. It was so unique and it was original too. And I was like, great writing. I love the sci-fi movie. I just love this movie so much. And I was like, oh, it was so good. But it's been 10 years now. No sequel as announced. So hopefully one day. But man, I love Edge of Tomorrow so much. It was a good surprise for me. It's a terrible marketing. But it was a big surprise to me, and I love that movie. So it's my first one. And my second one is going to be one that I think people are kind of mixed on, but I like it a lot. Is the 2011 Justin Timberlake Amanda Seyfried movie called In Time. You remember that movie, guys?
I do remember that movie. It was cool. It was cool.
I liked
it. Time with
really.
that one. It was a very interesting a concept. Yeah, I liked it. And I think I'd seen the director's one of his other movies, but it was good though. That was a solid one.
For the time that it came out, it was very fresh. It was very new, and I really did enjoy that movie.
And no one saw it but us. No one saw it but us. And it's the guy who wrote Truman Show. And Truman Show, one of my favorite movies of all time.
Okay.
He wrote Truman Show, but he's not had a good career after In Time, unfortunately. He's written some things that no one saw or big flops. So not the best career, but In Time is a movie. Basically, it's in the future. Basically, you stop aging at 25, and now the currency is time. So everyone's like, at the 25, you have, I think it's a year left to live. And then you got to like, if the rich stay rich, the poor stay poor, people run out of time, you die basically. And it's like future LA. If you were poor, you live in the slums. If you're rich, you live in the high end part of LA with like different barriers. In order to go to these certain places, it costs money just to go to into the city. If you can't afford it, you can't afford it. You're gonna lose all your money. You're gonna die. If you lose your time, you're gonna die. And it was a really good. I think it could have been fleshed out more, maybe executed a bit more overall. But it was a really cool concept premise where I was like, I want to see more of this. I think I bought it on Blu-ray a few months ago, whatever. I'm like, this movie's great. It's Roger Deakins doing cinematography, who I love as a cinematographer. Cillian Murphy, Timberlake, Amanda Seyfried, Olivia Wilde. Great cast. But I think a movie, wasn't marketed as well either. And again, it was very mixed at the box office, mixed in the critics, whatever. But it was a very unique original movie, very unique. And it kind of ends with the cliffhanger, sort of like kind of a sequel setup, whatever. And I truly do think that movie would have been a cool like little franchise or sequel, because it's a very underrated movie that I think no one has maybe seen, but I recommend it because it's awesome. So it's my second number two, and my honorable mention will be a movie that also no one saw in 2016, had great reviews, had fantastic audience scores, whatever. Is Russell Crowe, Ryan Gosling, The Nice Guys. That movie is hilarious. That movie is so funny. And, Joe said this yesterday on the phone yesterday. People don't realize how funny Ryan Gosling can be. And I think they'll see it in Barbie for sure this summer. But Ryan Gosling's a very, very funny actor with Crazy Stupid Love or, again, Nice Guys. He's a fantastic comedic actor. And, I have a huge crush on Ryan Gosling. But he has he's a great comedic timing. Him and Russell Crowe have a really good chemistry. It's the guy, Shane Black, who wrote Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, Lethal Weapon, Iron Man 3 and Care About. He also did that really awful boo-boo ass Predator movie that I fucking hated. That movie's so garbage. That movie's so garbage. Ugh. But it's a great script. Set in the 70s. These two guys are like, one's both private eyes, but they have their own means of kind of doing stuff. And set in the 70s LA, like, war and drugs, hippies, everything, peace. It's like a different era. And these guys are recruited by I think the mayor or like some big politician to find their daughter, help her find her daughter. And there's a big conspiracy with like porn actresses and porn stars and like the mob a little bit and like gangsters in LA. It's a very, very funny movie. Like, it's a very smart, funny movie too, and great physical comedy, both by Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling. The jokes are there, great pace, great cinematography, great soundtrack. And again, it came out in 2016, and no one saw that movie. No one saw that movie, but I think me and the homies. So it's sad that no one saw that movie, but I own it. I'm very proud to own that movie. It's hilarious. Got like 95 on Rotten Tomatoes, a great audience score. People loved it. It just did not do well at the box office. So I wish that could have been a sequel, but yeah.
And Russell Crowe and Gosling both said like they're down to do it a second.
I hope so. That would have been it. That would have been. Hopefully they do it because it gets original too. I love original movies, so that's mine. I almost said Blade Runner 2049, and you know how much I love that movie. Both of you guys, all three of you guys know how much I love that movie. I remember seeing the opening night, man. IMAX. We saw that opening night. It was a fucking experience, Nick.
It sure fucking was.
The sound of the car, and you're flying through the city on the flying cars. But yeah, it's kind of like it could have ended there, which is fine. But
I hope to make a third one. I mean, in terms of Blade Runner,
I hope so, bro.
Yeah.
I will do that. No, I'm kidding.
Moses, bro, I swear to God, please do that movie and hire IMAX to shoot the movie on IMAX again. Because I'm telling you, man, seeing that on IMAX, seeing that Nick opening night, that was like a religious experience for me, dude. Because I was just like, I've never seen something like that before in IMAX. Where it blew me away. The sound, the cinematography by Roger Deakins, the visuals. That movie is meant to be in IMAX, and to this day, I'm angry at IMAX for not re-releasing it at all during their kind of re-release schedule. And they never made an IMAX format on Blu-ray or streaming, and it kills me, man. And it kills me to this day that they never did that. So please do a third one. IMAX, do it, please, Moses, please.
It's one. I think literally for me, it's the second or the first prettiest movie that I ever saw.
Oh, Deakins, man. Roger Deakins, man.
And that dude, freaking Denis Villeneuve, that man knows how to pay attention to detail when it comes down to visuals and everything like that. I just saw the second trailer for Dune Part 2. Man. Oh my gosh, I don't understand this guy, but I this guy is incredible. I've watched his previous films too as well. The past, I think, last month, and it's crazy. It's crazy.
I'm trying to avoid the trailer, but is the trailer dope? I'm trying to avoid it.
The trailer is intriguing. Yeah,
it's 3 minutes, but I think that it's going to be a 3-hour movie. So I was like, it's 3 hours. it's worth it watching the trailer, and I don't think it will mean any harm because it's like 3 minutes out of 3 hours. It's like yeah.
Yeah, and with the trailer, it and you know how I am with these long trailers, Doug. Like with the trailer, it didn't show. To me, it didn't really show anything.
Okay, good.
You know
good.
what I mean? Of like mass importance to the movie.
Okay, good.
You
Yeah.
know, so it really like you're not gonna watch it and see the whole movie. You're just honestly gonna see a trailer.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
I'll watch it.
Okay.
I'll watch it. Yeah, I
Solid.
can't wait. I know we're gonna see that day one in IMAX, no matter what. Like I gotta see that
Yeah.
IMAX because me and Nick and Kayla and Zeta saw it at IMAX I think a week or two after it came out. And I take blame for this. We picked the kind of like the most like nearest IMAX that was all near all four of us, whatever. And it was like one in like Phoenix, whatever. This IMAX was so ass. It was like green for like half the movie.
Bro,
And we're like, remember that? They're like,
I
run it back.
I was like, oh man, I hope it's not like this the whole movie, man.
And I was
Luckily,
so
it wasn't
nervous.
though. This
They-
one lady stood up. She was like, "Change the fucking film," and I was
Bro,
like, "Oh,
people were
dang, she really
leaving.
wanted to see this movie, man."
People were leaving, man. It wasn't AZ Mills, unfortunately. It just it was like I think Desert Ridge or whatever, and the IMAX was ass. It was boo boo AF, and I was like, oh no, 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 no. Still cool seeing IMAX, but it wasn't the full IMAX how it is at the 143 at AZ Mills. So definitely, again, for our listeners, if you've seen an IMAX movie and it's filmed in IMAX, see it at the biggest IMAX. I think for you, Moses, it's the TCL Chinese Theater as well as Universal City Walk, and then
Oh, yeah.
for you, Joe, I think it's Indiana because the Navy Pier one is closed. The one at Regal doesn't have a full 143; it's a 190. But if you can see a movie, like Oppenheimer example, if you can see a movie in the full IMAX 143, it's amazing. Like me and Moses saw Tenet in the 143, the full 143 at AZ Mills, and that was sick. It was the full screen. Because Nolan, Jordan Peele does it too. If you shoot an IMAX with IMAX cameras, you get the full head from top to bottom screen, and it's a experience like no other. You're just like blown away. You're just like this is incredible. But anyway, no, we gotta wrap up. So Joe, as always, my friend, you want to end the show? How we end the show? Take it away, my friend.
Yes. So if you're new to the show and decided to skip quite a few of our episodes, welcome. Hi. What we do at the end of each show is we do what we call one-on-ones. Basically, each of us go one at a time, recommending a show or movie that we think is underrated and not enough people have seen it, or we just really like it and want you guys to see it and, hopefully like it at the same time. We understand if you don't watch it right away, it's fine. We're just hoping that you at least put it onto your movies list and then eventually sometime down the way, you will watch it and, say what you think about it. Since Moses is back, I'm gonna let you go first, my guy.
Yeah. Thanks, man. What's if you have not seen the show, you should check it out. In terms of show wise, The Bear.
Yes.
I've been watching that show. It's great. It's set in, your hometown, of course, Doug, Chicago, and it's great. The dialogue, it's great. Story is great. Everything is all there. It's very, very clear. And yeah, no spoilers. I'm only in the second. I'm in the second season, episode 2, episode 3, I think. And yeah, for a movie, give me 3 seconds. I will suggest, if you haven't seen it, I'm pretty sure everybody's seen it already. If you haven't seen Spider-Man, Across Spider-Verse, then I don't know what you're doing. You should go out right now. I don't care what time it is. Go out right now and go see that movie because it's a beautiful movie. I'm putting this out there. Kevin Feige, hit me up. I'm your guy for the live action. Miles Morales, Spider-Man. No, I'm kidding. But yeah,
No,
go check.
manifest it, Moses. You will direct the next movie. You will direct that movie. Manifest. Manifest,
Yes,
my
indeed.
friend.
Yes, indeed.
He'll see
But,
gold. He'll be like, I got this. Moses, you're hired.
but yeah, go check it out. It's a great film. That's it.
All right.
Sweet.
How about you, Nick? You're next.
So for me, the TV show that I'm gonna say is Peacemaker with John Cena, by James Gunn. And the reason I'm saying this show is when it was announced, one, like I didn't really know who Peacemaker was. Two, I didn't really care about Peacemaker. It's a DC show, and it's kind of a sequel to the Suicide Squad. And like it was coming out in a time where I was like, dude, I don't want all these kind of like random no name ass characters, man. Give me my Superman sequel, give me Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern movies, blah blah blah, all of that kind of stuff. But I'm watching the show and like James Gunn just did this thing where he made me care about this, kind of like C-list, D-list character, and the show is really, really well written. And I was like I found myself recommending the show to others. And I was like, dang, that's crazy. So I gotta recommend that show because it surprised me with how good it was. It got me really, really invested in the characters and their like personal struggles. And it's kind of what made me vibe with the idea of James Gunn, one, leading the DCU and writing and directing Superman. Like that's what basically got me on board with James Gunn. The movie is it's called The Animatrix. It takes place like in the Matrix world. It's an anthology film. It's like a bunch of different just kind of shorts that take place kind of like in and around the Matrix world, and each of them focuses on a different aspect of the Matrix, and it's all like different not personalities, but different perspectives and different characters' experiences, and like none of these characters, save for one, was even in the movie. So like there was like one story, it was these kids, they thought that they were in a haunted house, but like watching the movie, like it's not a haunted house, it's just a glitch in the Matrix. But it was really fascinating to see characters kind of experience this thing that we're all very familiar with, but in a very different way. And I don't want to get like too much into it because I really would recommend it, especially if you like just creative storytelling. And yeah, so those are the movie and the show that I would put on would be Peacemaker and The Animatrix.
Did the
All right,
Wachowskis do that one? Or no?
I think they like produced or like maybe wrote some of the shorts, but I don't know. They didn't like direct all of them, I don't think.
Yeah, I'm really hoping the Wachowskis kind of like come back because I don't know. I mean, Matrix. I mean, I don't want to say they're a one-hit wonder, but they've made some shit. They have made some shit where I'm just like, ooh. But yeah, but yeah, I wish they can have a comeback with a cool movie maybe soon. But yeah, that's my hope.
I agree.
Yeah, Sam. Those are a good list. All right, Doug, you're next.
I'm up. All right, so I've been kind of going back and forth this week. I'm going to do a movie that means a lot to me. Yeah, a movie that people kind of despise, but you, me, and Joe, Joe, you and I, our friends, like this movie a lot. It's a movie that I saw right before I moved to Arizona, the day before actually, which was Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates. This movie's hilarious. This movie's hilarious, man. People hate this movie. This movie's fucking hilarious.
It was funny, man.
It's right. It's so. Yeah, I said I looked at my review for No Hard Feelings and Joyride. Was that this was 2016? This came out. I remember I was literally leaving for Arizona the next day to move there. So it was Joel's birthday. Saw some homies, and I was like, man, I just miss seeing rated R comedies like that in the theater with a crowd because it really enhances the experience. And like you see a movie with people, your friends or strangers, whatever, all laughing. It's just a fun experience. It really is. It just I miss that. I hope we're gonna see more rated R comedies or comedies in general come back to the big screen because I don't want to see them on like Peacock or Netflix, Hulu. I want to see them on a big screen with an audience because it's hilarious. This movie's hilarious. If you don't know, it's based on a true story. These two guys, both single brothers from New York, they put a Craigslist ad needing dates for the sister's wedding because the family said, you guys kind of ruin every family event, whether it's a funeral, 4th of July party, family reunion. You guys literally ruin every event you guys go to. So we're having you guys bring a date. So they were kind of desperate for dates. So they kind of brought put like ad on Craigslist or whatever, and they got these two random girls that also kind of like insanity as well. I know that's a true story in that story, but in the movie, it's kind of like they bring these two girls played by Anna Kendrick and Aubrey Plaza, and Mike and Dave are played by Zac Efron and Adam Devine from Workaholics. And man, it's hilarious. It's an hour 30 minutes. It's super funny. Everyone's funny in this movie. They are funny in them. The girls are funny in the movie. The girl playing the sister. Sam Richardson playing the fiance is funny. Stephen Root's really funny in the movie. Camille Nanjiani has a really weird quote unquote sex scene as a massage parlor.
Yo, that scene was insane, bro. I was like, okay, what the hell am I watching right now?
That's what Joe said when we saw it too. Joe was like, what in the fuck are we watching right now?
That shit came out of fucking nowhere, bro. I was confused as hell. My mom walked in, bro. I was like, Mom, no. I was like, this ain't the type. This ain't what I'm into.
It's such a weird sex scene. You're like, what's going on here? But I just remember laughing, and our friend TJ literally was just like, and you know, TJ, he's a really contagious laugher, and I hear TJ goes, oh. we had our feet on like the railing too, because it was like the first seats, whatever. You felt, and Joel was like, bro, you feel the rail shaking.
That man would stomp his feet and clap his hands. Oh my goodness!
But it's a very funny movie. It's Disney owns it. It was a Fox movie. Disney owns it, unfortunately. So I don't know where you can find it. Maybe it's on Hulu. Let me check. It's a very good hour 30-minute movie that you rent it, unfortunately. But yeah, it's super fun. I recommend it. Right? It's again a lot of fun. I kind of want to buy the book, the true story from the guys, story based off of them. And it's a really funny movie. So yeah, Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates, which is a very underrated comedy. And for my show, I'm going to go with the Amazon Prime / Paramount show, which is the TV adaptation of Reacher, which is the Jack Reacher series. I love the first Tom Cruise one so much. Memory was under me and Joe and we had like 20 people. It was like it was winter break 2012, my first year of high school. Joe was a sophomore. We had a lot of friends who were sophomore, juniors, seniors, whatever. And we had like 20 people in the movies as a squad. We were deep. The whole row was me and the homies. And I feel so bad for that audience because we were obnoxious as fuck. Like we were so loud, we were making jokes. Like everyone's being roasted too. Like everyone, the movie's being roasted, but like everyone in our friend group was being roasted too. And we were just having a good time laughing. I remember people throwing candy at each other. Like everyone had a big roast joke fest. Which again, love that movie for other reasons, but I love the storytelling in that movie. Great writing by Chris McQuarrie, good acting by Tom Cruise because it wasn't Mission Impossible. It was something different. Hated the second one. I was like, reboot it, have someone else do it because this movie was garbage. So this one, it's based off one of the different books from the movie. And Jack Reacher's kind of like this, like he was an ex-army guy, ex-military. It's kind of like not Equalizer, but he's kind of just like kind of just a guy constantly like wants to do right, and give justice the right name, whatever. He's not a cop. He has his own laws. He's not like a bounty hunter. He's not an assassin, but like kind of takes justice to his own hands, and like he'll fuck some people up. And this show is awesome. Again, I love the first Jack Reacher movie with Tom Cruise, but this show is awesome. Only one season out right now. I think season 2 is coming out this summer. It's awesome. Alan Richardson is playing him. That boy is huge. That boy is massive.
That man is a giant.
He's huge. He was Thad in Blue Mountain State. He was in the recent Fast and Furious movie. He played one of the agents, whatever. Yeah, this dude is massive.
And that dude's a fucking giant.
He's huge.
Dude, he's like what, 6'5" or tall or some shit.
He's 6'5", like 300 pounds muscle, just pure muscle, dude. That boy is
pure
huge.
muscle. It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, dude. It's crazy. So in the book too, he's more book accurate because Tom Cruise, love you TC, but you're on the shorter side. Sorry, you're like 5'6", whatever. Still didn't bother me as much in the first movies, but in the book, he's like this massive giant dude, and it's very book accurate from what I've heard. And it's an 8-episode series. It's awesome. It's dark. It's TVMA. It's violent as fuck. Great storytelling, great acting, great suspense, great thriller. I cannot wait for season 2. So recommend seeing the show, but also watching the first Tom Cruise movie. But yeah, the show Reacher on Amazon Prime is awesome. So I can date New Wednesdays for my movie and Reacher for my show of the week.
All right, nice. Okay, so now it's my turn. Since we're talking about fuck? How did I forget his name? All right, there we go. Came back. Tom Cruise. Things leave my mind so badly. I'm the old age just hitting me so badly.
Come on, old man.
So I'm gonna be forgetting y'all's name now. So to talk about Tom Cruise, I'm gonna talk about an old movie. It's a guilty pleasure of mine to watch from time to time, like once in a blue moon. Is War of the Worlds, 2005.
That's a good one.
I
Spielberg.
personally enjoy it. Yeah, I personally enjoy it. It's such a such a movie. I feel like a lot of people have seen it. This is more of a recommendation for the younger crowd who probably haven't seen it and maybe have never heard of it. But it's an intriguing movie and an intriguing take on aliens invading our world and like how and not only that, it also focuses on mainly the humans, how they're surviving, and just it has that old school like follow camera, you know what I mean? Where it's like they're running, the cameraman's running, it's a good movie. I thoroughly enjoy it. I know a lot of people really don't like it and have no care for it, but I think it's such a good just watch to see something intriguing. And for the show, it's a new show on Netflix called Bloodhounds. It's a Korean show. You guys know how much I love my Asian films, whether they're Japanese, Chinese, Korean, whatever. I truly do like it. I'm not done with it yet, but it's mainly about these two guys, young guys in their 20s, who are, training to be boxers, and one of the guys, his mom takes out a loan from Loan Shark Company, and how like he's trying to get out of debt with them and like save his family and just sort of, with his friend, just end their corruption. So I really like it. It's on Netflix. Really good watch. So Bloodhounds for my show and War of the Worlds for my movie. War of the Worlds is currently on Max. So yeah. All right. This is the point where everyone gets to one at a time plug their social medias and everything. So whoever wants to go first, you can.
I'll go first. You can find me on YouTube at Donning Vision, capital D, capital V, and you can find me on Instagram at all lowercase Donning Vision, and also check out my new YouTube channel, The Trivia Oasis.
It's awesome, guys. It's really cool.
Thank you.
Who's next?
Oh yeah, I'll go. Those guys, you can find me on Instagram at the Young Jones, Twitter as well. I'm doing more kind of like quick tweets out of the theater, which is Capri CAPRI _ Son SON, like the juice box but with an O. And you can also find my full review of No Hard Feelings and The Bear season 2 on our podcast page, as well as our YouTube channel.
All right, Moses, you're up.
Yeah. You can find me on Instagram, Moses Lawi _ and you can find me on Vimeo, Moses Lawi, that's pretty much it. I still don't have a site yet, of course, website or anything like that, where you can basically see most of my, work and everything, but that will soon be changed in a couple months or a month or so. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Do you want me to link goals to our website, Moses?
Huh?
I can link goals to our website and social media if you like.
Yeah, if you can,
Yeah, of course.
Cool.
Nick, you still do Donning Vision as well for you guys as well.
Okay, sweet. Yeah. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you.
Of course.
All right. You can find my Instagram, my TikTok, and my Twitch at the OG Cuban Rican. It's you know how to spell that. Yeah, there's where you can find me at. I stream as often as I can. I switch it up as much as I can. Recently started playing Hogwarts and Apex again, but soon new games will be coming out within next month, August and September. So you'll see me playing that either by myself or with my homies. And if you want to give me a gift, since it's my birthday past, my Cash App is. No, I'm joking. But yeah, you can find me at the OG Cuban Rican and everything. And I try to Twitch stream a few times a week. So yeah, come through, follow, chat with me, talk to me about movies, games, anything you really want. I'm always open for that. All right. Well, that's the end of our show. Thank you guys for coming again, and to the new people, thank you for coming through. Hopefully you guys have liked, subscribed, and shared us with some of your homies and family. We really do appreciate you guys coming with us through coming with us on this verbal journey of our opinions and rants on movies, TV shows, and so on and so forth. And hopefully you'll join us again for the next episode. So thank you guys very much. Love y'all. Stay safe. Have a good night. Have a good day.